The wind carried the faint scent of rain as I stood in my backyard, staring at the old oak tree where my mother once hung a tire swing. Its gnarled branches stretched over the fence, casting long shadows into the neighbor's yard. That's when Patricia Coleman, the HOA president, appeared at my gate, her clipboard clutched like a weapon. "Sophie, those branches need trimming," she said, her voice sharp with that practiced authority that made my skin crawl. "They're a hazard, and the bylaws are clear: overhanging limbs must be cut back." I crossed my arms, meeting her steely gaze. "Patricia, that tree's been here longer than your rules. It's on my property, and I'm not touching it." Her lips pursed, but I didn't flinch. "This isn't about a tree, is it? It's about you flexing control." My name's Sophie Reynolds, a graphic designer with a fierce streak forged by my mother's lessons in resilience. She planted that oak when she bought this house, a modest bungalow at the edge of our quiet neighborhood, bordered by a winding path to a pond where we'd skip stones at dusk. That tree, like this home, was her mark on the world, a symbol of roots and defiance. Now, Patricia's HOA was tightening its grip, issuing notices for everything from unapproved paint colors to excessive garden ornaments. But the tree was personal. When Patricia started sending letters demanding I trim it, I ignored them. Then came the violation. An HOA contractor showed up unannounced, chainsaw in hand, ready to hack away. I stopped them just in time, but the audacity burned. This wasn't about safety, it was about power. I'm meticulous by nature, a trait from years of perfecting designs pixel by pixel. So I started documenting everything: photos of the tree, copies of Patricia's letters, timestamps of every interaction. My mother's old silver locket, tucked in my pocket, felt like a talisman, reminding me to guard what she'd built. Patricia wasn't just after my tree, she was after compliance. That night, I sat at my desk, the pond's soft ripples glinting outside, and planned my counterattack. Shouting wouldn't stop her. Evidence would. Have you ever faced someone trying to erase what's yours? This is my story, but it's bigger than me. Stay with it, it's about to get heated. The HOA's rules were suffocating. Notices piled up, fines for a birdhouse deemed non-compliant, complaints about my porch light's wattage. Then, one morning, I found a citation taped to my door, accusing my tree of encroaching on community space. My blood boiled. I marched to the HOA office, demanding answers. Patricia's assistant fed me platitudes about neighborhood standards, but I wasn't fooled. Back home, I pored over the bylaws, spotting loopholes and vague clauses ripe for abuse. A lawyer I consulted, sharp and no-nonsense, confirmed my suspicions. "They can't touch your tree without consent, Sophie. This is harassment dressed as policy." Whispers in the neighborhood hinted I wasn't alone. My neighbor, Tom, a quiet retiree, admitted over coffee that he'd been fined for his rose bushes. "Patricia's got spies," he muttered. "Be careful." His warning lingered, but I wasn't backing down. At the next HOA meeting, I stood, voice steady, holding up the bylaws. "Section 7.2 requires homeowner approval for tree maintenance," I said. "Your citations are baseless." A few heads nodded, the air shifting. Patricia's smile was tight. "We prioritize safety," she said, her tone icy. I leaned forward. "Then why send contractors to my yard without notice?" The room buzzed, and I saw her flinch. Then came the escalation. A flyer appeared in my mailbox, my name scrawled across it, branding me a disruptor, threatening community harmony. It was a dirty tactic, meant to shame me into silence. Instead, it lit a fire. I visited Ellen, a former HOA treasurer who'd left after clashing with Patricia. Over tea, she handed me a folder of emails, receipts, and a memo detailing a scheme to find problem residents into submission. "Patricia's built a machine," Ellen said, her voice low. "She controls everything." The documents were gold, proof of her overreach. The next meeting was a showdown. I presented Ellen's evidence, my words slicing through Patricia's defenses. "You've abused your power," I said, holding up the memo. "You've targeted us to keep us quiet." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Patricia's composure cracked, her voice sharp. "This is slander." But the neighbor's eyes told a different story. Doubt was spreading. Later, she cornered me in the parking lot. "You're digging your own grave, Sophie," she hissed. "You crossed my line first," I shot back. "That tree stays." By the pond that night, The oak's silhouette stood tall, my mother's locket heavy in my hand. I wasn't just fighting for a tree, I was fighting for her. The battle intensified. Notices morphed into legal threats, accusing me of defying community standards. But allies emerged. Tom shared his own finds. A young couple, Mia and Jake, signed statements about similar harassment. We met by the pond, the oak looming protectively, and planned our next move. I installed cameras around my property, catching an HOA worker snooping near my fence. The footage was damning. At the following meeting, I played it, the room erupting in murmurs. Patricia's denials faltered. "You're fabricating a conspiracy," she snapped. "No," I said. "I'm exposing yours." The fight landed in court. Patricia filed a lawsuit, claiming my resistance threatened the HOA's authority. My lawyer, armed with Ellen's documents, camera footage, and neighbor testimonies, was ready. In the cold courtroom, I stood, heart racing. "This is about more than a tree," I said. "It's about our right to our homes." Tom and Mia testified, their stories echoing mine. A recording played Patricia's voice, cold and calculated, plotting to break non-compliant residents. Her face drained of color. The judge's ruling was clear. Patricia was guilty of abuse of power and harassment. Fines against me were voided. She was ousted from the HOA, facing fines and possible charges. That evening, I sat under the oak, the pond's ripples catching the moonlight. The neighborhood felt lighter, board meetings now open and fair. Neighbors who once ducked my gaze now stopped to talk, their stories weaving a new community tapestry. The fight wasn't just mine, it was ours. My mother's locket warmed in my hand, her voice whispering, "Hold fast. Justice isn't given, it's fought for." Have you ever stood against a force trying to steal what's yours? Share your story. The oak still stands, and so do we.